How did you meet your partner? Story 1. World of Warcraft. He was an orc warlock. I was a Tauren druid. He would soulstone me before pulls during raids. Our guild had just had a post your picture thread on our guild forum. Realized this guy I had been chatting with casually was super hot. I felt bold one night during raid and pre-soulstone told him to. Give it to me, baby. That kind of set things off that he knew I was interested. He was more shy and reserved and didn't want to make the first move. Few more months of more intense phone conversations and getting to know each other ensues. He books a flight to come see me. Months and months of pent-up sexual tension and frustration finally release. Sparks just absolutely fly, and I have more chemistry with this man than I've ever had with anyone before in my life. I completely throw my life into turmoil, and we move in together a month later. It never should have worked. I didn't think it would. Just told myself I would ride this wave, and him, until it inevitably ended. We've been together for 17 years now, married for 5. Our sex life is still incredible, that chemistry never died. It's still crazy to me I met my husband and wow. Story 2. This will probably get lost in the huge sea of comments, but here it goes. We met when I worked at a cell phone store. She got a job at my work after working at the frozen yogurt store in the mall. At the time we were both dating other people in long-term relationships. Our store and co-workers were all very close. We would go out together for drinks, board game nights, movie nights, etc. She fit so perfectly in our work store friends. She became one of my best friends while we worked together for well over a year. At the time my health got progressively worse as I was only a year before diagnosed with renal cell cancer. This dumb misfit group of degenerate phone sales people got me through one of the worst times in my life. They would always cover me on shifts when I got too sick or had to leave early. Would drive me to appointments and make sure I was in good spirits. She would throw get-togethers and always made sure I could make it. I found out later she would cancel me UPS if I couldn't make it, so I never felt left out. I broke up with my girlfriend because she just couldn't handle everything. It was too much for her, but I had these amazing friends to help me get through it. Thankfully, I was diagnosed very early, stage 1, and was able to go through treatments, then eventually surgery, then remission, then cured. But anyways, we became very close friends. Another coworker, her and I used to have these bad movies nights where we would watch the worst of the worst, Trolls 2, Maximum Overdrive, Saw movies, The Room, etc., and I already had a crush on her. She was like no one I ever met before. Kind, caring, beautiful, hilarious, dark humor, loved video games, and everything I could dream of. She was still dating her boyfriend, so I never made it obvious or hinted at or flirted. She was my friend, and that just is not who I am. She was there for me when I tried Tinder, branched out, and went on dates again. I never clicked with anyone like I did with her, so nothing ever got serious. She eventually broke up with her boyfriend, and a few weeks later one night, we all went out as co-workers to the nightclub. We were all dancing, then she pressed up into me, and my heart, I think, almost burst. We danced together, and she turns around and we lock eyes. It was like this bolt of lightning hits, and we kiss. The whole room disappeared. This moment I've imagined just happened, and she has this goofy smile I'll never forget. The night continued as normal. Fast forward weeks of those dumb bad movie nights and hangouts. I asked her out on a date. She says yes, and we have a magical night. Fast forward a few more, I ask her to be my girlfriend. We date, we meet each other's families. Fast forward a year or 2 years. We move from our hometown together to the big city. Fast forward to yesterday, June 23, 2024, and I ask her to marry me. She says yes, and well, now we are engaged. I love her to death, and I'm so happy she decided to get that cell phone store job. Story 3. We met at college. The first time we met was when I had finished a performance of a play that she had come to see, and she met me afterwards to tell me how much she liked it. The first time I remember meeting was a few months later, during dance auditions for a later production that we ended up in together. We were dance partners for that show, but were both in relationships at the time, so we didn't have any pressure about attraction. Got to enjoy being just good friends with each other. Over months, our other relationships ended. Driving around one day, I put my hand on hers and said, "I think we like each other." And she said, "Yeah, I think we do." We kissed at a red light. Married for 16 years. Story 4. We initially linked up via a dating site. She said that she received dozens, hundreds of messages a day, but for whatever reason, my message stood out to her. She liked that I talked in full words and sentences, and that I'd actually read her page and commented on things that I'd read. My dumbass thought it was a good idea to immediately share my cheap passion with her, glassblowing. I had a small studio set up in the back of a barn, basically in the middle of nowhere. I invited her to come out and check out the studio, maybe show her how to make some stuff. At first, she was all on board. And then suddenly, she wasn't. Yeah. It didn't occur to me that inviting a woman out to the middle of nowhere, in the dark, to play with hot glass and explosive gases probably wasn't a good idea. What can I say? I've never been a woman before, and had traveled a number of random glass studios to hang out and create with other artists. I didn't see it as dangerous because I know me. But she didn't. So she decided not to take me up on the glass adventure and instead, meet up at a local sushi spot. I will never forget how she looked that night. Black, flowing dress cut just above the knees, short auburn hair cropped into a pixie cut, light blue eyes, and a smile that immediately melted my heart. I walked into a wall, as she says, where I saw her and immediately stopped and gawked. I just remember thinking to myself, "Please let her be here for me. Please let her be here for me." She was. We've now been together for almost 8 years and married since last March. She is my light, my motivation, and everything that is good in me. She laughs at my stupid jokes, I laugh at hers. I have never known a love like hers, and it is my everything. Story 5. Worked at a liquor store, a major one. Boss asked me to train the new hire, nothing out of the normal. She pursued me, we ended up becoming a thing. Later that year, that boss said jokingly, "Hey, if you marry her, I'll have to do a bunch of paperwork about it." I married that girl. Story 6. College as well. I worked with her best friend at a restaurant where all the employees were a tight-knit family. We'd all hang and go out after shifts and on days off, most of the time at my place. Our mutual friend would bring her around and we just hit it off, having mutual interests and attraction to each other. Things really began when our mutual friend was studying abroad in Italy, and I still wanted to hang out despite him being away. Our first date was actually painting and cooking in my apartment during that time. Funny caveat, when I was young, maybe 8 years old, my mom brought me to her cousin's daughter's birthday party / neighborhood crawfish boil. Looking back at pics, my now wife was actually at that birthday party, and we played outside all day. Her family lived in the house next door to my mom's cousin. Invisible string theory, I guess. We got engaged after 4 years together, and will be married this upcoming February on our 6th year anniversary of officially being together. Crazy where life takes you. Story 7. I was 19 working at a shitty restaurant, and this super hot chick kept coming to eat, even though the food was awful. That was her opener. "Hey, the food sucks here. Do you want to go somewhere else for dinner?" It's only been 31 years, so I don't know if she was being honest or not. I will know soon. Story 8. I met my now wife through an app, not even a dating app, and we would spend hours talking, which eventually became us calling every Friday night to have a movie night on Discord. And eventually I started falling for her, and her birthday was coming up, and I wanted to visit her so badly. Only issue was, she was in Florida, and I was in Switzerland. And I had never ever done anything like travel halfway across the world on my own. It was something completely out of my comfort zone. But I knew there was something special about her, and I took the risk, and I flew out to see her for her birthday. We had a lovely 8-day trip to Key West, and I found out she also liked me back, and we became official on day 6 out of 8 on the trip. We had to do long distance for a very long time, and we somehow made it work. And just 2 days ago, we got married, and we're living happily together in Switzerland. Story 9. We were in school together, and she used to bully the living shit out of me and traumatize me, and I used to go home and play with myself aggressively in response to the bullying while thinking of her every damn day. Fast forward 6 years, and I'm a medical student now, and I haven't seen her for so long, but I used to think about her from time to time, but one day I just couldn't stop thinking about her day and night, so I started searching her profile on Facebook and found her, so I added her just to see her photos, but she sent me a message instead, and we started chatting, and we went out on a walk. My initial thoughts were to show her how muscular, tall and good looking I became, and that she can't say shit to me now. She was very good and sweet towards me, and I felt a very weird calm and loving feeling towards her, which made me feel weird. So when I got home, I blocked her. 2 more years passed in which I had thought about her almost every day, but one day I started missing her hard and thinking about her day and night, so I unblocked her, sent her a request which she accepted, and I messaged her. We started chatting on a daily basis, and we went out again. This time I fell for her hard momentarily, and she fell for me too, and we started dating. Now I understand that I have Stockholm Syndrome.